There is one practice that separates people who try to astral project from those who actually are able to do it. It's something called wake back to bed. And once I explain what's actually happening in your brain, you're going to understand why almost every failed attempt that you've had up until now wasn't about the method itself, but simply just bad timing. My name is Steven Carva, and I help people consciously explore outside the physical realm through altered states of consciousness. So let's get into it. Most people attempt astral projection right when they first go to bed. They apply some kind of relaxation technique, might even listen to a guided meditation, and they lay there hoping something will happen. And don't get me wrong, occasionally it does, but mostly you just fall asleep, right? Like no different than any other night. And you have to understand that when you first fall asleep, your brain drops into a deep, slow wave sleep. This is heavy restorative sleep. Your brain waves slow way down, your body goes into maintenance mode. Trying to astral project from that entry point is actually incredibly difficult. And again, it can happen. I'm not saying it's impossible. But what I'm saying is you are making it 10 times more difficult by trying when you first go to sleep. To understand why wake back to bed is so important, you need to understand how your sleep works, right? So your sleep isn't one long uniform state. It moves in cycles, roughly 90 minutes each, and across the night those cycles will slightly shift. So the early cycles are dominated by deep, slow wave sleep. But as the night goes on, your REM periods, or let's call them your dream stages, they get longer and they move closer to the surface of consciousness. By the fourth or fifth hour of sleep, your final REM cycles can stretch out significantly and your brain is producing brainwave patterns that are almost awake, while your body stays fully paralyzed. So it's around the 4 to 6 hour mark that your cortisol naturally begins rising as part of your circadian rhythm. And that's your body's natural early preparation for eventual waking. So your brain is sitting in this narrow window where it's primed to wake up, but still within REM. So you are chemically standing right at the edge between sleep and awake. And look, every tradition that's ever taught this, going back centuries long before anyone had the language of REM cycles or chemicals, they all pointed to the exact same window. It's a threshold hour, and it's the idea that the veil is thinnest in the deep hours of the night. And I find that so fascinating because, they didn't have EEGs. They didn't know what a neurotransmitter was, but they felt it. They noticed that consciousness behaves differently in those hours, and that the boundary between the physical and non-physical gets thin right around that same 4 to 6 hour mark. Now here's something really interesting. This liminal window isn't just a doorway to the astral or to lucid dreams. History is full of people who stumbled into it by accident and walked out with breakthroughs that they couldn't reach any other way. For example, Thomas Edison used to nap sitting upright in a chair, holding a steer ball in each hand, with metal pans set on the floor beneath him. So the moment he drifted into that liminal state, his grip would loosen, so the balls would drop and the crash would wake him up. And he'd immediately write down whatever had just passed through his mind. He called it his twilight state, and it led to some of his biggest breakthroughs. Salvador Dali did almost the exact same thing with the key balanced over a metal plate. And what's interesting is, researchers actually recreated the technique in a lab. And people who hovered right at the edge of sleep were dramatically better at solving a problem that they'd been stuck on than people who stayed fully awake trying to resolve it. And this goes further back than Edison. There were many others like them. That specific state they were all tapping into, that hypnagogic edge right between waking and sleep, is governed by the exact same mechanism as the wake back to bed window. Your thinking mind quiets, but awareness does not disappear. So the analytical, filtering, second-guessing part of your brain sort of steps back, and what's left is something closer to raw signal. What we're doing with wake back to bed is deliberately walking back into that exact same neurological territory as all those famous inventors in the past, except that we're holding it for much longer, and using it to walk consciously into the dream state or straight out the body entirely. As far as how to do it, wake back to bed is simple in principle. You interrupt your sleep on purpose, right in that window, and then you go back to bed. That's it on the surface. But how you use those waking minutes is what really determines whether you fall right back into unconscious sleep or whether you walk straight into a lucid or out-of-body experience. So let's go through it in a little more detail. You sleep for about 5 to 6 hours. You set an alarm for around that time. This is going to vary slightly person to person. Okay, so if 5 doesn't work, experiment towards 6. When the alarm goes off, get up. Actually get out of bed. Walk to another room if you can. This is not optional, guys. Contrary to what other people might say, I found that getting out of bed and walking makes a huge difference. Staying horizontal in bed just keeps you too close to sleep and you'll just drift back unconsciously. Plus, you also need to have a raised awareness when you go back to sleep. And getting up will help with this. Now, stay awake for 5 to 10 minutes. It all depends how sleepy you are, how much of a heavy sleeper you might be. For some people, 20 minutes might work better. Again, you need to test it out for yourself. But start out with 5 to 10. Don't scroll your phone, don't switch on the lights, but do remind yourself of your intention. So I personally like to quietly just repeat my intention internally, depending on what I want to try next, whether it's entering a lucid dream or astral projecting or shifting realities or whatever it is, okay? That intention must match the experience you're aiming for. But you must do so without adding any pressure to yourself. Instead, be sort of nonchalant about it. As in, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, whatever. That's the kind of attitude you need to have. Because otherwise, that internal pressure you create for yourself will absolutely mess up the process. Then go back to bed, and at this point, try whichever method you want. It doesn't really matter if it's a lucid dreaming method, an astral projection method, maybe one that requires you to be still or one that allows you to move around. And this is what I tell everyone who has been trying their chosen methods and hasn't been able to succeed. The problem is very rarely the method itself, because ultimately it all comes down to intention. And the intention you put behind the method is what makes it work or not. However, the timing, the wake back to bed, is like putting your method on steroids, and your chances of succeeding with whichever method that you try will be dramatically higher compared to when first going to sleep. Every night your body builds this door for you. Most people sleep straight through it, completely unaware it was ever there. With wake back to bed, you are simply choosing to be conscious at the exact moment your brain was always going to open that door anyway. If this made things click for you, that's what I was hoping for. Try tonight together with any method that you choose. Remember, 5 to 6 hours of sleep, 5 to 10 minutes awake, intention held the entire time. That's it. Please support me by liking this video and subscribing to this channel. I post videos every week about how to reach these states, giving you tips and tricks, all from my own direct experience. And if you want the deeper, structured protocols that I use myself, that's what I share with my Patreon community. All the links are in the description below, including a free guide to get you started right away. So let me know in the comments if you use Wake Back to Bed or if you're planning on using it. Please share your experience with everyone so we can all learn together. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.
Because I am more than physical matter, I can perceive that which is greater than the physical world.